Your latest news update from Western Mass News.
I'm Kristen Burnell, and here's your latest news update from Western Mass News. The abortion medication mifepristone continues to be accessible in the United States for now, as the Supreme Court placed a halt on the Texas federal judge's ruling to make the drug inaccessible. But for Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey announced last week that thousands of the doses of mifepristone were stockpiled. And she also signed an executive order protecting medication abortions under existing state law. The Auburn Police Department posted an update to their previous post about ID fraud arrests made last week. Detectives obtained a search warrant for a suspect's car. During a search of the car, Auburn police detectives located 80 false IDs and numerous bags of property purchased with stolen credit card information at other stores in New England. This is an ongoing investigation, and additional charges may be filed. During yesterday's canoe races, the Russell Montgomery Police Department was notified of a medical emergency in the water. Officials responded and located the victim, who was being treated by off-duty area paramedics that were participating in the race. No other information is available at this time.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm First Alert meteorologist Lee Murphy. A lot of us are waking up to seeing some steady to heavier rainfall, especially for those of us in portions of eastern Hampden, Hampshire, Franklin counties. The heaviest of the rain will continue to move off towards our east, but then as we head through the rest of the morning, we could continue to see heavier to steady rainfall as we head into the morning hours. We'll only see temperatures rising up into the lower to middle 50s for your day today. And then heading into the afternoon, the showers will become a little bit more scattered in nature, so we are going to be looking at not as heavy of the rain as we head into the afternoon. Heading through the rest of the evening hours, we'll definitely see those showers become more scattered as the rainfall now moves off well up to our north and east. We'll be looking at overcast skies heading into the overnight hours, and tomorrow we'll be starting off mainly cloudy with temperatures around the cooler side getting into the lower to middle 40s. Now, as we head through the rest of the day tomorrow, we do run the risk for a few scattered showers in the afternoon, and then we also are going to see temperatures only topping off in the middle 50s. Heading through the rest of the week, we are going to turn a little bit unsettled, but then we do look to have some sunshine, especially as we head into Wednesday through Friday. Highs will be in the lower 60s. Right now, the weekend is starting off mainly dry, but then it could turn a little unsettled as we head into Sunday and Monday of the following week.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.